All right, once again, this is not going to take very long. What I've put up on the screen right now, what you should be able to see, is the same email that I just sent out for you. I did want to mention, if you look here, I'm asking people to fill this out. Now, I'm doing a lecture on the Play Store, but I'm curious right now as to how many of you plan on or don't plan on putting your app out on the Google Play Store. And again, unless you have an account already, it is one-time $25 charge. I realize, for example, let's say that you had a job and you lost it due to the coronavirus, that you may not have 25 bucks. I get that. All right. But like I said, I just want to know who's planning on putting their app out on the Play Store and who is not. So I've sent this out to everyone. Right now, there's 4 out of 10 of you attending this class, but I'm going to give you, all you have to do is just put an X by I do or an X by I do not. That's it. Attached to the email was the final project, part 3. Is that it? You've got that included as an attachment on your, there it is. Okay. So as it says, what I want you to do for part 3, do a week from tomorrow, is I want you to convert your Java Android prototype that you should have turned in yesterday and convert it from a prototype into an actual working app. As it says, in other words, you are to take the prototype activities you set up for part 2 and make them actually functional. As it says here, in essence, this is the final project. Any changes you make after that should be fairly simplistic. For example, aesthetic in nature, if you want to change colors or fonts, or if you've got an error in what you submit in part 3 and you fix that. And notice I'm asking a lot from this project. It's due Friday, but I'll actually accept it through Sunday. All right. But Sunday now, it's where it's going to start getting a little heavy, where I'm going to start getting a lot of stuff submitted. And again, you know this because I've mentioned this to you before, that I have to have grades in by Thursday at noon, plus the student outcome assessment that I have to do all the time. All right. And I'm still going to send out to everybody a copy of the evaluation form. Again, unless I'm mistaken, and somebody please correct me if I'm wrong, my guess is that Ms. Bruggeman has not contacted you about doing a final course evaluation. Is that true? Anybody? Well, okay, no one's answering, so I'm taking for granted that she has not. All
No,
right,
she
so
hasn't.
What's that?
She hasn't.
She has not, thank you. All right, but I will send you mine, and like I said, you've done those for me before. It's like a 1 to 5, with 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. And the only way I get better is to sit and listen from you. If it really bugs you, and if you think, well, he's going to hold it against me, like I said, then just turn it in anytime after noon on Thursday. All right. With some of you, I may never hear from you again. All right. It's possible. What I'm going to do is, if I hear anything about jobs, anything comes my way, I'm going to be forwarding it to all 10 of you who are in the class. Now, according to the figures that I have, out of the 10 of you in the class, nine of you are going to graduate. Now, 1 person is not. I'm not going to say who it is, but I believe it's because that person has not finished all their gen eds up yet. All right. And hopefully they will do that either this summer or in fall and then graduate. Again, finally, if you have not turned in part 1, then you probably also didn't turn in part 2. All right. So please make sure that you do that as soon as possible. One other thing I wanted to show you, because I do want you to know, and I think I mentioned this or showed this to you the other day, but I'm going to show it to you again. This is the final project that I was hoping to do. This is and hopefully you can see my emulator up on the screen right here. This is page 1 of setting this thing up where you'd be able to have a resume app. All right. And that's page 1. Page 2, this is supposed to be showing pictures of all the places I've graduated from. And I've got a default image in there right now. The default image is an SQL logo. That's why that is showing. And then there's supposed to be 2 more pages. But when I go to the 3rd page, which is supposed to show my projects, it just dies right there. And I'm trying to figure that out so I can open it up again. But I can't even get to my 4th page right now. And my 4th page is the employment page. All right. What I may end up doing is moving these things around on mine so I can see if my employment page works or not. And if you look on here, there's supposed to be links right up here that I cannot get to show, and I don't know why, but these links will not show, and they are supposed to say on there profile, and then next to it, it's supposed to say education. Then next to that, it's supposed to say here projects. Then next to that, it's supposed to say here employment. I have got it set up, so if you click here, this is a customized dialogue. You know, do you want to call Jeff Scott? And if you do say yes, it goes through and it sets up everything rather. You know, and again, notice I don't think it actually allows me to call from an emulator, but if it does, who cares? All right. And here, do you want to email Jeff Scott? Well, since it's the emulator, if I click yes, it just gives me an error down here that it says no apps can perform this action. And then finally, this is for texting. Do you want to text Jeff Scott? And if you say yes, it brings up everything so that you're able to text. So that stuff all works. And like I said, I was happy as heck when this thing finally came up. I've done a whole bunch of stuff in here. I played with margins, I played with padding, but I believe the problem that's giving me is I'm trying to use in here what's called a view pager, which instead of me swiping like this, all I'd have to do then would be to click the links up here. And the view pager isn't showing. Again, I'm basing this off of something that a class that I took 5 years ago. I've rewritten a lot of it. And I think I told you, I even asked for help from the person who did it, who told me they no longer have the source code. But this is here, whatever I have, whatever I come up with, all right? If I get this done by next Monday, that's what I'm gonna load up to the Google Play Store. If I don't, I'm just gonna grab the BMI program or maybe the guessing game, the one that we did with the average and the wow and the whatever, but I'm gonna load that one. There will be something that will be shown. And probably at least, I'm going to do this twice. I'm probably going to come in tomorrow afternoon after I excuse you guys, and I'm going to use Camtasia so I can really take my time and do kind of a run through and try to grab one of the apps and put it up on the App Store. I didn't do this last year. I did it 2 years ago with the one I have. The reason I didn't do it last year is I said, how many of you are planning on putting your apps on the App Store? And there were like 6 people, and 5 were no, and 1 was a maybe. But I don't think so. So I didn't do it. All right. I'd like to do it this year, if for no other reason, because it keeps me fresh or whatever you want to call it. All right. So like I said, if I get this one done, I changed around the code. This is a recycler view here. All right. But I changed around the code. I did a lot of different things. I'm using Picasso, and that's what I'm using to bring in the images. And I noticed that Mr. Smith is using a different package called Volley. If I can't get Picasso to work, I might have to go in and try Volley. The problem with that is that means a lot more rewrite on my code. And I don't really want to do that if I can help it. And it's funny because, like I said, this is supposed to be my project page. This next one here is supposed to be the project page, and I can't even test that. So I can, because it blows up right there. But there's an Explore and there's a Share on there. The Explorer, when I click it, it's supposed to bring up GitHub as far as where that project is. So if you wanted to download it, you'd be able to. And the Share is going to come up here, and it's going to bring up basically any kind of sharing app you have. So for instance, it might ask, you might show an email app, it might show Facebook, Instagram, Google Groups, etc. up here. But like I said, until I can get that thing fixed, all right, I can't really go on with it at all. So last thing I'll tell you, all right, you saw all this, you saw this in the what I sent you today, but please do this survey. If I get it back from you by 12:35 p.m. tomorrow, 25 points. All right. I'm just adding 25 points to whatever your score is. If I don't, you're not losing any points. You're just not getting the 25 points. All right. And there's like 5 of you here right now, which means, as you'd guess, there's 5 of you not here. All right. And remember, the project part 2, the prototype of the project was due yesterday. About 3 or 4 of you have turned it in, which means, again, about 6 or 7 of you have not. Today, as soon as I let you go, which will be in a minute or two, I'm going to go in and try to grade everything that I have. All right, everything I have from you that I haven't graded in the last week. So that'll be out there. If for some reason, again, I've got a Google invite that says has expired, I will be emailing you to ask you to give me another invite. All right, remember that the to-do list app is due tomorrow by the end of class period. All right, again, if you've got any homework from unit 4 or 5, the recycler view, turn those in. All right, again, on this email that I gave you today, you have the part 3 for the project. Part 4 will be handed out next Monday, and at the least, it'll be due that Wednesday. All right, and finally, again, if you got any missing, late, or incomplete work, try to get it into me as soon as you possibly can. If there are no questions, feel free to just drop off, and I will talk to you at this time tomorrow. Thank you.